Awesome. Well, welcome to episode 1, Reddit Talks Clash. Testing out the new Reddit Talk feature while engaging a little bit better with the Clash of Clans subreddit community. Trying to talk about the game meta a little bit, some good posts, and we'll get to your questions in the comments later. Already a lot of good ones rolling in. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. So I am Sam or Ginger Recon. I don't know what to say. I'm currently Town 13 on Clash, hoping to be Town 14 soon because I'm gonna rush because I'm cool like that. And yeah, I'm from the UK, as you can all probably tell, and Rick will bully me throughout the entire pod. So yeah, that is me.
So yeah, Congressman Cool Rick. Just Rick is cool for short. I have a max account at just about every level. Still working on my 13. Do a lot of lower level wars with that too. Been hanging out in Trample Damage's clan. For those of you guys who frequent the sub, you should probably know his name. And yeah, that's about it for me.
And I'm Mac, Town Hall 14, maxed out at my own little clan, doing my best to make my way through the Clash of Clans community. Winning wars.
Good.
All right. Well,
So,
I think the
shall
first
we
thing we wanted to talk about
yeah.
was we'll talk about that post we had stickied for a little while there first.
The fishing one, that one.
Yeah, I thought that'd be a good way to kick it off, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's a fun topic.
Yeah, just get right into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's go.
Users will appreciate it.
so yeah, I know I've been getting a lot of comments and messages from people asking what we're gonna do next, and I don't really know. I'm disappointed that we didn't get a response out of Darian or anyone else from Supercell. We did reach out and ask for someone to pop in and give us some comments twice, and that obviously didn't happen. So now I think I've said it in a few places, but I think it's just important that we continue having the conversation right now. And the more we get people talking about it, the more everyone voices their concerns. I think it's going to be harder for them to ignore us long term. But as for what we're going to do as mods next, I don't know.
Yeah, like it's kind of difficult because we obviously made this post in the hope to get a superstar response, and we had it sticky for I think a week. So and I highly doubt Darian didn't go on the sub at all for a week, and completely didn't look at Slack, which is where some of us can communicate with them. So without meaning to call them out, and of course, like I said, we always talk about Darian. But then obviously he's just kind of the face of Clash, like he's the community manager. Then obviously he's not directly involved with support or anything. So we may say, "Oh, Darian didn't do this," but it's likely not his fault. But Supercell clearly saw the post and chose not to act on it. So it's just kind of difficult there because where do you go if they're not willing to have that kind of discussion?
And for a little bit of clarity for those of you guys listening, check out the stickied comment under this post here. You can see it right now live, and we'll link to the post and different things we're talking about there. So you can see there, just for a little breakdown on the post that we're referencing. We have a pretty long list of links. If you look at it, I'm not sure exactly how many links are in there of your guys' posts about your Supercell support issues, largely related to phishing, losing accounts, and then when attempting to regain your accounts being ultimately banned from the game. And this is just a fraction of the posts that we see on the subreddit. That's why we decided to sticky this in the first place. It is as mods here, there's nothing we can do. We're not affiliated with Supercell. So when they shut down the forums, this became the go-to place to publicly post your problem with Supercell support and everything else going on. And it's definitely opened my eyes to the extent to which Supercell's lack of support, or I don't know what you guys would call it, has affected players.
Yeah, I would just encourage everyone who wants to see something done is, keep speaking out, keep talking about it. Reach out to your favorite content creators, ask their opinions, ask them to comment on it. The more we get everyone talking about it, I think the more likely Supercell is to finally address it. I mean, it took years for them to finally take Xmod and iMod seriously. I don't think this is going to be, like a situation where we stick you to post for a week and get everything fixed. But it's just a start.
And let's
yeah,
give the listeners here some of the juicy details, because we're talking about this like it's a problem, right? But like, we have been sent like test posts that people have tried to write with a how-to guide on how to steal an account.
yeah,
There's publicly available information.
And some have been posted as well. I don't know if you've noticed, but there have been a few on the sub, and it is quite concerning because a lot of the information, obviously these people who are posting don't, they do disclose some information, and because obviously if they don't, then it is just a straight up how to fish guide, and if that did get posted, we would remove it. But it's just kind of very concerning how much of the information is so easily publicly accessible. Like it shouldn't, any security question their security questions because only in theory the person who rightfully owns the account knows them. But it's a lot of it is publicly accessible information, whether that be through the API, through Clash of Stats, which is kind of the same thing. Looking at obstacles on people's bases, like for Supercell to try to say, oh yeah, well just don't have special obstacles on your bases, then from certain time periods, then that clearly shows a fault with the game, I think.
Yeah. So the main recovery questions are where did you create the account? When did you create the account? Have you made any purchases? And arguably that's the hardest one to beat, it seems, is having a receipt for previous purchases. Allegedly, some of those are easy to fake. I'm trying to get more information about the phishing process, but yeah, I mean, as far as what country was I in when I made the account, I'm on the U.S. leaderboards in Legend League. I mean, everyone can look at my account and see that my clan history, which is available on Clash of Stats and everything. I'm been jumping from U.S. to U.S. clan. It's impossible for me to hide that my account was created in the U.S. All my special obstacles are there. And just when people join the clan, we talk to each other. Hey man, where are you from? How long you been playing? Those are really standard conversation topics in a game like Clash of Clans, and to use them as sort of security questions is just honestly kind of baffling to me.
Yeah, I mean and also back to the thing about I've heard you mention this, I've heard other people mention this, about the fact that Supercell, you might not get through to Supercell support unless you made a purchase. I don't know how true that is, but I don't know if any of you guys have any more information on that.
That sounds conspiracy theory adjacent to me.
I know,
not knowing anything else.
There were forums posts where people tried to prove it, and obviously we can't go link to those anymore. But I know I had seen some compelling evidence that it was true, but I obviously can't say for certain whether or not people who have spent money get access to a higher tier of customer support. You all right there?
That come through. Sorry about that. Just moving a chair there.
Yeah. But
I mean, there's not much more we can really say about it. Check out the post that we put there. You can continue to leave comments on it for some time if you want to consolidate more of your Supercell support feelings there. You're more than welcome to. But to get on to a more fun topic, are you guys ready to talk about the update for a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Let's go for it.
Yeah. Let me pull it up here. Do you guys use Super Dragons, Dragon Riders?
I haven't used them yet.
I use nothing but Super Drags for like the last month.
Same. I've been doing Queen Charge Super Drags, and it is pretty powerful. It carried my CWL.
I've been trying to get away from it lately, so I haven't tried out Super Drags since the nerf, but I have been doing Drag Riders And the Dragon Riders don't feel all that much different, honestly.
That's good to know. I didn't expect them to feel too much different. I also quit boosting Super Dragons, so I haven't had a chance to really test them out firsthand too much. I had them for the first day and then switched them out.
I do like them at on my Town Hall 12, and I know down there they got the least bit of nerf, so I'll probably still use them. And honestly, I'll kind of be surprised if it really mattered that much. I think it was only like 100 HP for that level. It wasn't really much at all.
Yeah, well, and then for Town Hall 14, there's 300 HP. I mean, obviously, Super Dragons are incredibly tanky as it is. They had 7,000 HP, I think, for the update for just stopping Town Hall 14. And so 300 less, like when you put it relatively to 7,000, it doesn't seem too consequential on paper. But then if you think, okay, say you have an army of 7 Super Dragons, that is actually 2,100 HP less in total, which feels like a much bigger number. If you think how many air defense shots that is, or how much time in the multi. So I don't know if either of you have already played with them after the update, but I mean, I just know from watching videos, this isn't any concrete proof, but just from seeing attacks, it feels like Super Dragons die a lot faster now. Just from watching, I'd say pro attacks, but it doesn't mean there's anything special. Lots of them do just spam Super Dragons, and before they would, wipe through the base. It would be silly, but now it feels like they die out a bit faster. I don't know if you guys have experienced that in your own testing or.
No. Yeah, I mean, the big strength of Super Dragons was just that when you use your spells well, they just tend to last through the whole attack. They just keep going and going. So I think with a good, well-planned attack, they're still going to be pretty viable, But if you're trying to pick which super troop to use, they're a little bit more even with some of the other super troops as far as how bad you want it.
Yeah, when I was 3-starring with Super Dragons, it was almost always overwhelming. So I don't know if losing 300 HP off of 4 or 5 of them is across 3 minutes. Yeah, it's going to be less overpowered, but I don't know if it's going to really change how they're used.
I mean, I do wonder about just dragons are kind of almost the spam troop, and there are so many of them in the game now. Super Dragons were just another one. There is Super Dragons, there's Baby Dragons, there's Inferno Babies, there's Normal Dragons, there's Dragon Riders, and they're all and Electro Dragons, and they're all just made to make their own various spam armies, which, you can have differing opinions on it. Some people will say it's good because it means it's easier for players, to win, and that sounds good. But then at the same time, it often feels like there's no point, say planning out a Queen Charge Lalo when you can just spam dragons in a line and win.
Yeah, I think that's how I'm going to have to take a look at Super Dragons just to see how effective the nerf was. Because most of the attacks you're seeing that have a lot of success are with the other kind of dragons. At least it's a Queen Charge leading up into it, or a Blizzard, or there's some kind of shaping and opening to that attack. And with Super Drags, you could just do a line of them and with decent spell placement still get it across. I think that needs to end across the board. But
I definitely saw legend bases change for Super Dragons, and it was harder to triple, I think, anyway, once you got up to 53, 54. And you could so since people have built against it and it's nerfed, I think now's not the best time to make that evaluation, and that they'll come back a little bit once the meta shifts defensively.
Do you see yourself using wall records at all now?
I think those look pretty awesome, but no, I never used them before.
I don't think I've
change.
I've seen wall records used. There was a couple attacks that had wall records in the World Finals. But personally, it's ever since Log Launcher, I don't use it.
For me, the mortar HP, HP is going to affect me more than any of this. I use a single balloon to funnel a mortar all the time. That's out now because sometimes
do you not use balloon and minion? Oh god!
Sometimes I'll do balloon minion. sometimes when there's a lot of defenses, I'll go, balloon. But I think with this, you'll have to use 2 balloons now.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like, if I remember correctly, I don't have it pulled up. I'll pull it now. It's basically like a 2 times HP increase, which is, some mortar, sure, but that's still quite a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah, the mortar nerf or the mortar buff really almost threw a wrench in my other plans that I guess we'll talk about later. But that had me really mad for a minute.
Oh, we can get right into it now. That's a great
okay.
spot
So,
to transition.
He might be out here, but Tip Dog is a guy who's been really cool to us recently. He's reached out with help, but he, along with another guy, T, they run the podcast Clash Tips, which is really awesome. You should go check it out and listen to it, everyone. But it was hanging out in their server a week ago or so, and someone brought up an old pushing chart, and then we talked about how high Town Hall 2s have pushed, and someone else brought up a Town Hall 2 that made it to Legends, and Clash Ninja was in there. Just all those comments just kind of led me to thinking, can a Town Hall 2 get a star off a totally max Town Hall 14? And then luckily I have a Town Hall 2 with a clan castle, and I have a totally max Town Hall 14. And I just went to work designing this base just to see how much percent I can actually get. And it was close. I was getting 52%, but I was getting it. And that was all. It was real close, and cutting it close on time, because the 3 minute time, 3 minutes is the factor you're working against, because I separated all the defenses out. I had mortars, cannons, the bomb tower, sweepers off in one corner.
What kind of base were you running?
It's basic. I started off just I lazily made an FWA style progress base kind of thing. But yeah, I wrote up a whole huge post. I'm gonna post it later tonight. Then, but yeah, I had all the ground defenses in one side. I tested using 2 CC loons, because Town Hall 2s only have 10 CC space, and Baby Drag does better. And then I divided all the resource buildings. I made a little special track, sorted all the buildings from low HP to high, just to get the most of those down. And then the rest of the buildings, the things like camps and the spell factories, and I did all that, and I was getting 52%. And then they announced that they're buffing the mortars, and it was really close. So I was kind of thinking man, is this going to be impossible anymore? But no, you can still do it. It ended up not really mattering. But yeah, I have a video and some photos. I'll post all that later tonight. And then
I think that would make a better challenge base, like Supercell started to do in the for a reward. I think that would make a super fun challenge. Section
I think the challenge I had was just trying to design the base just to allow the goblins and the barbs to get through most of it in under 3 minutes. But it was cool. I think tonight I screwed up the design, and I tried to change things to get a little more percent, and then I moved everything into the range of a scatter shot, so now I got to wait another couple hours until I can FC it again. But I think I can probably get 55, 56%, and someone smarter can probably do even better than that. So I'm I'll throw up a challenge. I'll make a post about it later tonight and see if anyone can beat that.
Sounds like a good challenge. Did you guys hear about TDH retiring?
I watched that
recently.
video.
Yeah. It was a bit of a roller coaster.
You watched the video and see his reasons why?
I did watch the video, yeah. And I was wondering if we wanted to quickly discuss those kind of reasons. So the main one I remember is the meta. And he kind of alluded to, so before Town Hall 13, the meta was very it wasn't easy, it was, you had to plan out your attacks a lot more. Spam armies weren't really a thing. It was more difficult to get 3 stars. But since Town Hall 13, spam armies have become more prevalent, and just he was saying how the meta felt just way less skillful, and I kind of agree with him there. Like, even lower town halls, for example, they're almost all spam now. Witch spam, whatever it may be. Even at the top, Town Hall 14, like, just look at the prevalence of Super Dragons and Skybrid, Hydra, all that. And he's obviously famous for creating the TH Lalo, Queen Charge Lalo, all that. It's obviously a much more high skill attack, and if you watch any of his videos, he does a lot of Queen Charge Lalo still. So I can see why he'd feel demotivated, because if he puts all this effort into planning skillful attacks, but then it's easy just to not do that and just spam, then kind of, I guess, takes the fun out of the game almost.
This is so I totally understand where you're coming from, where he's coming from, for sure. I think it's an inevitable part of just the game growing that lower town halls get easier, and I have no problem with that part.
But no, that's fine.
This is all about Town Hall 15. This exact same thing happened back when I think it was Town Hall 11 was coming out or 12 was coming out. We talked about this a little bit last time. I'm sure someone in the comments has been playing Clash as long as I have, and they remember Powerbang being a big YouTuber. And then I think there was a guy that was Snips Attacks or Snip Attacks, something like that. He was connected to They Coming, who I think also, I don't know if he puts out videos anymore either. But there was a whole group of guys that were super involved in the competitive meta, uploading videos to YouTube, and they all started retiring for... One reason was just the botting. A lot of mods at the time were an issue in competitive play. You didn't have Clan War League or friendly challenges yet, so the competitive scene was super limited. And but anyway, they all retired for the same reason, because they thought it was too easy. And then the next town hall dropped, and it was immediately balanced again. And they brought the balance back right away with all these new defenses and everything. But to gear up for that, they always lean offensive before they drop a new town hall. And they sometimes more, sometimes less, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we're still a year off, really, a new town hall. Like, if the Supercell sticks to that kind of 18 months, schedule. I mean, if I try to think back, Town 14 released April? Like, Town 14 is almost a year ago now, which is quite crazy. It still feels relatively new to me, at least. When it first came out, I do remember it was difficult, or more difficult, because of course Giga Poison was a huge change. Of course, Channel 13 you had the Giga Blast, but the only effect really was, I mean, apart from the damage, which you could warden ability through, was the freeze, and that is nowhere nearly as damaging as the Giga Poison, which you can't easily warden ability through for many armies. And it was actually really game changing, and the same with it kind of completely destroyed hybrid, which was the main meta at Town 13. I mean, it's kind of come back recently, but it's nowhere near to its Town 13 days.
You can hybrid any Town Hall 13 base, I think. But you can't you can't hybrid any Town Hall 14 base.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, there's only some you still can, but it's not that one attack fits all attack that it used to be back in Town 13.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Philosophically, should you be able to triple every base? With the right army?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like if there's some armies like hybrid that work on a lot of bases, because it does work on a lot of bases. You can't say it doesn't work on any bases, especially in average clan worms. The higher competitive play, sure, it's a little bit harder. But even then, they're not building against hybrid the way they're building against a lot of other more powerful strategies.
I think seeing so many triples in the World Championship made it a little more boring to me, because it was it's not exciting to see a triple. It's kind of the expectation.
Yeah, I
think they want triples though.
To be fair, there were a few wars. I remember there was one war It was Tribe Gaming versus someone, I can't remember who, and they did score 10 stars. Like, it was consistent 2 stars. Then that's also boring too, because they never tripled, and you want to see them triple. But yeah, no, I do see what you mean. Like, there were definitely quite. I
Yeah,
can't
it
remember
was.
if there were any perfect wars. Actually, yes, there were. There were definitely perfect wars.
Yeah, there was a couple.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it felt like, maybe this is dumb, but it felt like it wasn't triples that won the war. It was not getting triples that lost you a war.
Yeah, I can't remember if I was saying this to myself or if I said it to someone. It might have been one of you. I can't remember. But I was thinking, like, what if the expectation, like you said, was never triples? At the current state in the game, you're expected to get a triple. But what if that wasn't the case, right? What if a 2-star was still like, yeah, that's good. You got a 2-star, and then tripling was like, oh my gosh, you just tripled, Like, it would be a complete shift of what we currently know, which is triple is good, 2-star is okay, 1-star is bad. But then it might actually be more exciting, because if 2 stars is the standard, then no one, you won't get upset about getting a 2-star, but then it makes 3 stars that bit more exciting, if you know what I mean.
I can understand your point of view, but as a Max Town Hall 14 that's not a pro player, I'm really glad that the balance is about where it's at, because I get to triple pretty
Yeah.
regularly, And,
Yeah.
by no means am I a pro. And I understand that pros, that means that in competition like that, they're going to triple most of the bases. But, I think that if you're going to keep people coming back, they don't want to, get that triple once in a while. It's so much more satisfying when you're on a roll. Just ask your clanmates,
Yeah, that's true. That is true. It's because I was kind of thinking, like, if the expectation was 2 stars, then you just feel happy about consistent 2s. But then I guess it's just such a hard thing to make people think, because if you're not getting the best, then why should you be happy about it? So, it's kind of like a psychological shift that wouldn't really be possible. But it would be nice if it was.
It's balanced real good for the casual player right now, I think. Or
Yeah.
3 stars are still really accessible. You can kind of get them without being too much of a nerd about the game. But yeah, it does take away the fun of watching the competitive scene, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I do wonder whether they should not worry about making, like, I don't think they should go full on, like what I was saying about almost never getting 3 stars, but I do think they could maybe adjust it a bit for Town Hall 14, so that, because when you think about it, like, if you're at Town Hall 14, maybe maxed on it and maxed, you might not be a pro by any means, but you're probably not casual, like completely casual, if you've got that far, So I don't think it'd be completely unreasonable to make people put a little bit of effort into their attacks, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm not saying if you don't triple, you haven't put effort in. Like, obviously, anything can go wrong, but like, these people at Max Town 14, they've put a lot of effort and money into the game, so you could kind of expect that they're not completely casual. Open it once a day, 5 minutes, and press on their collectors.
Yeah, and that's who you're balancing it around. So I understand at the highest level why the pros would be mad, but I think that for my clanmates anyway, I think the game is balanced pretty perfectly for them. So it's hard for me to see too much outside of my own bubble,
Yeah, I mean, of course, in my clan, it's mixed wars. So, like, I do notice, like, we get at the top at Town 14, we get a varying mix of triples and 2 stars. Though I would say, I mean, of course, it all depends on the player, but we definitely get way more 2 stars than triples still. So, that does kind of prove it's not completely out of balance.
Hey, yeah, do we want to take a couple questions before we wrap it up?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Yeah,
we've
we're
still
flying,
got,
aren't we? Yeah.
yeah, well, we still got 20 minutes, so we can probably do a few posts and a few questions, and then we should be nearing the end.
Spencer already put that super miner concept up. User Green Power 36. If you guys want to check out the sticky comment again for those of you
let me have a
listening
look.
live, the sticky comment there, it contains links to everything that we're talking about. So we'll miss you, TDH. Great YouTuber. Check out his channel in that link there. Great attack. Learn it. But we're going to Green Power 36, who last week posted about Super Miner's special ability, Explosive Demise. When the Super Miner is defeated, he will drop a dynamite that do a lot of, let's say, 500 damage, and also does splash damage. The death explosion would be a 3.5 tile radius. His ability is similar to how giant skeletons drop a bomb upon death, doing ton of damage and also splash damage. So, I read that verbatim from his post there. But what do you guys think? Would you vote for that Super Miner?
I think that's cool. I'm just wondering how much I'm trying to think of immediately how could that be abused. Like, if you put it in a blimp, like that could be like the new Yeti bomb, like a big, like you could. It's basically sending in, like, if he does a low damage on death, then you could send him to a target and just get him to basically explode on it. Yeah.
That's kind of a neat idea. The more I think about it, it would make hybrid attacks even more powerful for sure.
Yeah, I mean, of course, this post doesn't mention what troop capacity it would be, and I think that's a really important point.
Yeah. Miners use them in mass.
Yeah, a lot of the super troops are like subtle changes to things, instead of just like let's make it bigger and give it a crazy power. Some stuff like that, like the Valk dropping a rage spell.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are just like, hey, it's a beefier version of something, or like the Super Bowler has an extra bounce, or the Archer does, an extra distance.
Yeah.
I think those are a lot more the successful super troop variants. So for a Super Miner, I don't know what that would be. Probably not. It drops a bomb.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It might be fun to play with.
I just think that would be quite fun. Like, because it's kind of like a reverse bomb tower if you think about it like that. Like, I'm just trying to think of uses here. Like, say you have a CC of lots of archers, send a miner in, blow them all up. Like, you could definitely be creative with it, and it may not be a troop that you use a lot in, like, as an actual just main attacking army, but kind of like a side troop, a bit like when you take like a Valkyrie just to get rid of skeleton traps, take a super miner to do exactly that, or kill some CC troops, or put it in a blimp. You don't see Yetis used much in attacks, but they're still super common in Yeti blimps. So they don't have to be especially impactful for armies, but then they can be a nice thing to have. Of course, if they're a super troop, it relies on people boosting them, which is a pain, but still.
Let's look at comments. Any other questions?
Yeah, let's go. I mean, Spencer's given us a nice list on the.
Oh yeah. I don't have it pulled up. So
okay, I'll start. Right. Here he is. One directed at Mac. Mac from Sir Daddy-O, why is your voice velvety smooth? Chocolate.
That is usually
do tell the secret.
That's usually what Sam gets in the comments. The voice comments there. But appreciate you, Sir Daddy-O, I guess.
Right. So if we're moving on.
AirPods.
Mega Fish Slapper. I'm loving these names, can't I? Will Tower 15 be released this December? I mean, obviously, we're not Supercell, so we don't concretely know, but I think that would be a fair assumption to make.
I mean, like, I'll tell you, like, they haven't told us really anything yet. It's far out.
Yeah.
I mean, if assuming they stick to their roughly 18-month schedule, Tower 14 released in April, so December would make sense, coincide with the winter updates. That definitely does sound reasonable.
Yeah, they'll probably have to plan around whenever the World Finals time out, but
that's true actually, because they would probably wait till after, because Worlds is early December this year, so I imagine they'd wait for Worlds to finish, then drop the update.
Yeah, we still have a lot of Town Hall 14 left, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Don't they give players max accounts for those events?
No, they are
Right?
they are those players' accounts. I think,
Okay.
like they're theirs. Though I'm pretty sure they do give them level 10 clans sometimes. Like I think there are loads of say Queen Walker's clans everywhere because Supercell just dishes them out. But I think the accounts are there, so I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure.
All right, what's next?
Right, next we have Shadow Destiny 45. So he says super interested as to where the meta will go and things start moving. Maybe more ground attacks are coming. Well, ground attacks aren't really a thing right now apart from P.E.K.K.A Smash, so that
Wishful
would be
thinking.
quite nice to see. That
Everyone
would be nice to
loves
see.
to fly.
Yeah, the Town Hall Poison really hurts a lot of the spammier ground attacks.
Yeah.
And that seems to be like being more spam friendly is the way the game's been going for a while. So I don't know. I would love to see more viable ground attacks because right now it's the Super Wiz,
Smash or Super Bowlers.
Yeah, and Super Bowlers. I've been seeing like P.E.K.K.A Bobat pop up lately in videos. I haven't tried it yet.
I have a clan mate that does bats almost every attack. He is so good with them.
Who is it? Just out of interest.
Check out Trillion in my clan if you ever check him out.
Top I thought he did. I thought he did drag bat. Has he changed?
Yeah, he does drag bat. I was just saying that he uses bats, but he'll use them in different ways sometimes. But people just don't build for him like they used to, So bats are super viable if you scout a good base in clan war.
I think also an issue with ground attacks right now is if you think about excluding hybrid in this, P.E.K.K.A Smash, Super Bowlers, Super Witches, and any other slight variations on them, they all rely on Super Troops, and because you only get 2 Super Troop slots, and you might want Super Wall Breakers, you might want Sneakies, you might want both. It really limits your options for armies, and when all these ground attacks are based so much on Super Troops, that does become
especially if you want to donate Super Wizards.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to have to change. There's no way that doesn't change this year.
They're going to have to up it to 3 or something.
Yeah, whether
I think you'll be able to end your current boost for gems. Doesn't that make perfect sense? For
I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what direction it's gonna go, but they keep adding. They keep adding them. We're up to 12 now, right?
Yeah.
And yes, it's too limiting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they could do.
But that's what the wall wrecker's all about. They're just trying to open the walls up easier because the limitation is just with the air. You don't have to worry about walls. You can create pathing in a bunch of different ways. You only have to rely on the buildings. When it's on the ground, it's much harder to create that pathing. Sometimes easier, but if the bases are designed well, much harder.
Yeah, definitely. And with the whole Super Troops thing, another issue with the limit is, like I said, people don't try out lots of new troops because you want Super Wall Breakers because they're versatile. You want Sneakies because they're also versatile and a great farming troop if you're doing that. But then when it comes to watching pro matches, of course, they all do friendly wars, so they can choose their Super Troops. So you see a lot more variety in their attacks because they could do P.E.K.K.A Smash for one war, and then an hour later do Super Bowlers, an hour later do so many Rocket Loons because they have that flexibility. Whereas the average player doesn't have that. And say you're doing Clan War League, you might think, okay, I'm just going to boost Super Wall Breakers and Sneakies because they are versatile and I had the most choice of attacks with them. So then people just don't use the Super Troops as much, which I think is a shame because they are quite good and, offer a lot of variety to attacks.
I know, when it comes up on the sub, people always bring up, the economy, but or they bring it up as a way to say, if we're allowed to just dump Elixir, Switch, and Super Troops all the time, it's going to ruin the dark economy. And I don't really, I don't really buy it. And plus, we got a new level of drills recently too, so there's going to be more dark than ever. Which hopefully should allow something to change.
Right, should we go on to the next question?
Yeah, I see a good one from S. Fauboy. How does one become part of the COC esports scene?
Get
good, right?
Yeah, like, yeah, you need. I mean, first, yeah, like Max said, you need to get good, but then also get people together that share the same interests in you. You know, the only way you can get far in COG esports is with a team. And if
Yeah.
so whether that be clanmates or friends, like people from multiple clans, you get them together and say, are you interested in forming a team? Because that's kind of the first step. And then, focus on your clan war leagues. When pre-qualifiers come around, anyone in champs can compete in them. So even if you don't feel like you got a prospect of winning, play in them, because it's practice. It's getting the experience, that competitive scene. Do community tournaments. There are plenty of them.
They are linked in
Recently,
the sidebar on the subreddit. Check out all the different community events going on. I was going to say that too. If you're if you're not maxed out, go check out those community events. They have them for all town hall levels, and then it'll get you plugged into a community of people that are trying to do the same thing you are.
I'm looking at the sidebar now. Do we actually have them up at the moment?
Oh.
Wow, that is a conversation for another
Actually,
time.
We'll finish that out. A quick peek behind the scenes. We actually removed the list of community events because the links were outdated, and we needed to update the links to their servers. But
we're planning to redesign of the sub soon, but that is a bit delayed right now. So that will happen.
I'm pretty sure I have it working on the test sub, but with a few of them.
So I've seen it. It looks good.
Yeah.
But yeah, just literally, if you want to get part of the COG esports team, it's relatively accessible. You don't need to be signed to an org or anything. You can the pre-qualifiers of Worlds are done all in game. Like, it's very possible, as long as you have a group of friends as well who are motivated. So yeah, go for it and create a cool team name. That's important.
Definitely. I see another good question from Not Lost.
He was
asking, what do you think of the flame flinger pathing bug in the usage?
Well,
has it bugged for you? Do you guys use it?
I actually haven't used the flame flinger once yet. I'm really terrible with using new stuff.
I use the flame flinger a lot, and I shoehorn it into my legend attacks. It does not help me in a lot of them, but I do think it's super fun. And I haven't had I think I've had one time that it pathed to a building it shouldn't have.
Yeah,
in my opinion at the time, anyway.
But then even that one time is an issue, Like, if
that I suppose, but I do think it's a little bit blown out of proportion. They're pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just
out on new things.
I guess it's just annoying. And like, say for example, like, as a hypothetical situation, say in Worlds a team lost because their flame flinger took a funky pathing. That isn't good. Like, that is not because in theory, Clash is a strategy game, so most of the stuff that goes wrong technically should be the attacker's fault, if you know what I mean. Like, obviously a multitude of things can go wrong, but it should never be the game actually breaking on them for them to lose, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, right. I know Supercell are aware of the issue. So I assume it'll get fixed on the next update.
Definitely going to be better than my cannons on builder base.
Yeah. What other questions have we got? Here's an interesting concept from Ghost 1969. Do you think Clash would add a Boom Beach style OP? I think that's Operation. I haven't played Boom Beach, but I think that's right. Where we all attack a massive base. So yeah, I've heard Brick and Davis have. Davis
there was a
YouTuber.
One of the big YouTubers talked about this too. I can't remember which one it was.
I haven't watched the video, but I think it's definitely an interesting, because I think Clash is desperately in a need of a new game mode. I remember watching an Itzy video about a month ago saying the game is getting somewhat stale and needs something new. Like what Clan Wars.
I think he wanted a game mode.
Yeah, exactly, new game mode, because I think Itzy made a great point, which is it needs to be accessible for all town hall levels, right? Because if you add Town 15, sure, they create some brief excitement, but then is it really changing much for the majority of the player base?
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea for Supercell, I guess, but selfishly, I don't like playing builder base, and I don't want to see what else they have to come up with.
Wait,
I'm enjoying the game.
Yeah,
the way
that's true. Like, then I think I definitely think they should try, because realistically, if their whatever concept they have sucks, you can ignore it, like I do with build base. I ignore it. I pretend it doesn't exist. So that would probably be my strategy if mega bases suck. But I think mega bases would be a good idea, because it would really, because of course there was a point in Clash. I didn't play them, but there was a point in Clash where clan wars didn't even exist. So it was Clash of Clans, but clans weren't fighting. It's like there was the whole objective of the game wasn't there. But then, of course, clan wars introduced that more of the clan cooperation aspects. But then at the same time, you're working together but still independently. Whereas maker bases would be truly everyone working together and having to coordinate a proper strategy to take down the base. And I think if you can get that coordination right, it would be really, really fun. I mean, of course, it runs the risk of say, because from experience, both our clans are quite organized. I mean, we're in the same clan family. We all use Discord for our communications.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, more casual clans, it may be a bit of a struggle coordinating. A whole attack. And people don't log on very often. And
it's hard.
mails
I
can't
think
be that
it would
long.
be a big shift to the culture. I'm sure there's plenty of clans that have people that are not active at the same time for much of the day. And I've played other games where you have to have raiding parties and you're online with X amount of people at a time. And usually when you're in a faction or a clan, if you will, in those games, they're much larger too.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see what they come up with. I imagine they'll do some kind of more, like you said, ultimately a cohesive style. In the next update like that.
I just thought, kind of related to what you said about attacking together. I wonder, if they did that, add mega bases, if multiple people could attack at the same time, so then you could really coordinate it, right? And then, say you might do certain things which rely on two people doing this at the same time. I don't know. That sounds really.
I think that would really improve Boom Beach even.
Do
you guys play Boom Beach? Have you played it?
I don't know.
On and off over the years.
I'm not super familiar with Boom Beach. I understand that you do have a bigger integration, but
yeah, I personally haven't played it ever. But yeah, I think mega bases would be a cool concept, and I hope Supercell has at least thought about it. I mean, of course, there's this. Not wanting to dive into a whole new topic because a few minutes left, but there is, of course, this big update coming in some stage. So we'll wait and see what that is. We don't have long left, so should we just try and get through a few more questions and wrap it up? Or
yeah, sure.
Let's hit some rapid fire.
Yeah, let's go. Right. I'll just try and find something. Okay.
Brawl Fan 6 says, advice for upgrading. My advice for upgrading is upgrade the stuff that you use, mostly your offense.
Yeah. Don't listen to people who tell you rushing is objectively bad, because that is wrong. There are definitely ways to strategically rush, and there are good guides available on Reddit and other sites. But remember, you can also just play your way. You don't have to do everything like someone tells you, but there are definite ways of, trying to get strong offense, like Max said. And
Kyle THM, he asked, is ground broken? In a word? No.
No, not at all.
Next question.
Let's have a battle healer is Shadow 2. I'm not going to read out all those numbers. Shadow, lots of numbers. Battle healer is super healer. I mean,
sure,
without
buddy.
much information, that's hard to discuss. But
whatever makes you happy.
I wonder if they mean a ground healer which shoots up. That would be interesting.
I think he's referencing an idea for a super healer. Who knows?
Yeah. I wonder if there's been a concept somewhere that I've missed. I think I have seen some sort of super healer concept before.
A healer that shoots rages.
Yeah, I think I've seen a concept where they chain troops. I don't know. I've seen lots of concepts, I think. Right, another question from Nex. How can I convince my friends to stop Easter egg spamming like losers and taking 2 stars? Get new friends.
Hey, get new friends. On a serious note, if you know how to 3-star, all you have to do is 3-star in your clan and show up. Anytime we have clanmates on that, have strategies like that, if you start tripling, they'll just start using what you're using.
I definitely recommend referencing more replays or sharing multiplayer replays. It's so much easier to teach people an attack than explain it to them, because unless you're going through a rigorous FC process, and this can work, lots of FCs talking people through an attack, that can work, but it's so much harder, like just from personal experience of teaching a lot of people a lot of different attacks. It is so hard to teach people through clan chat. And even if you have their Discord, link them a video, because a YouTuber explaining it where they can see what's going on will help them so much more than you talking to them in clan chat. And that's not a fault of you, it's just how difficult it is to learn an attack. You have to get them interested
somehow, so if you can get them interested, show them a little bit in your chat, send them a link a little bit later, There's ways to do it, but they gotta want to.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
I think that's all good. Okay, so
so we'll be sticking around. That's still here. It was fun to go live with you guys tonight.
Yeah,
what are we doing this next?
Well, I think for now we're sticking to like a 2-week schedule, so we'll be back. I don't know what the date will be. Sometime in February
4th. Looks
5th.
like.
Oh, this is because I'm in the morning of
you're
Britain.
February 4th in the US.
Yeah, February 4th in the US at 9 or 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll probably stick to 9 p.m. We did it 8 p.m. today because of scheduling conflicts, but I think we usually stick to 9. But it will announce it on the sub before. We will be posting these episodes to YouTube. We'll get that I'll try to get that out tomorrow, and also Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I have no idea how to do that, but I'm sure someone will
try to tackle that tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll link them all in the comments of this post. I'm sure Spencer can add it to a sticky. The recording will also be available on this Reddit post after we're done, if you want to watch it again. So yeah, thank you for watching, everyone.
Be good
on
on
watching,
the
listening. Yeah, don't break rules, I will ban you. Right, goodbye, everyone.
Cheers.